Hi everybody. I just had a little thing pop up there that I was trying to get off my screen so I could talk. Well, I still have the same problem I was having in the last video. Uh, my phone's acting stupid for whatever reason, and I've been trying to, shoot an update here. So, well, I'm just gonna go live and force YouTube to help me you know, do what I need to do and say what I need to say. With that said, well, my cousins down home would say, well, let's start off with a warning, okay? Like I said in the description for this video, if I get to discussing something that might be gross or gross in the medical sense, or this may upset you or may offend you or whatever, don't say you weren't warned, okay? I mean, because really, I don't want to be getting a notification from Facebook or Amazon, Facebook, YouTube, or whomever crying about the fact that your special feelings got hurt and caused a lot of butt hurt because you couldn't handle me being disgusting. That's not my problem. Okay? That I have bigger fish to fry right now than your feelings being hurt. Okay? Not to sound mean. And I'm not apologizing for it either. I am not sorry for that at all at this point. I'm not. And like I said, I have bigger fish to fry. And if that hurts your feelings, keep that to yourself because I don't care. Okay? I'm at the point now where it's, July the 2nd, 2023 at this point. And I'm like over a lot of stuff at this point. And I'm not going to apologize for anything. Okay. Now let's get into why I'm shooting this video. And I gotta tell you, it's like I said, it might come out sounding a little disgusting in bits and pieces here, but it is what it is. Well, as I said in that last video, other than the fact that my phone's acting full right now, well, okay, Tony was supposed to get released from rehab at 11 a.m. on the 27th or 28th of June. Like I said, today's July, at this point it's July the 2nd, 2023, so it's been almost a week ago. Well, is one of my cousins says down home. Well, he ended up getting out at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And well, I mean, I had, like, after I shot that video, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, or Monday night, Tuesday morning, my body just decided to go, you're not going to get any sleep. I didn't get very much sleep that night. It's just because I was stressed out. Well, what ended up happening is they released Tony entirely too soon from rehab because his insurance is a bunch of pricks. They're like, well, he can walk down the hall and blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, that's all fine and great, but guess what? He only got to do the stairs, like, actual stairs once the entire time he was there. So, Tony can't climb stairs very well right now. It is what it is. So I ended up having to take Tony over to a relative's house when I realized that he isn't strong enough. His legs aren't strong enough right now, or they weren't on Wednesday, and I would assume that they're not now, just for the sake of argument. For him to be able to do what he needs to do. So he's currently at a relative's house. I won't say who. I'm not going to say who here. They know who they are. And I have to say, I'm glad that they're letting him stay with them for the time being until Tony's well enough to be able to climb the steps and do what he needs to do. Okay? I mean, it is what it is. I can't help it. At this point, it's like I've said before, the onus is on Tony at this point to get completely well. And, I mean, his foot, I've seen what his foot looks like. I have to say that even though, and this is probably going to come out sounding gross, it's like, I saw his leg today. If this is like his foot, where it's like, it's like no toes, like from like his ankle to like about here on his leg, we're talking his right leg, from like here to like about here on his leg. He has got like some of the worst dry skin I have ever seen. And I took him a whole brand new bottle of Vaseline lotion. The cocoa butter lotion. This stuff smells amazing, by the way. Now, and I told him, I'm like, honey, I almost impersonated Wild Bill from Silence of the Lambs. It puts on the lotion, gets the hose. But yeah, I mean, I took Tony some lotion for his leg. And it is what it is. But anyway, Tony just, he's doing okay, as far as I can tell. I mean, the one thing is I've been responsible enough to take Tony. Excuse me. I've been responsible enough to take Tony to his doctor's appointments. And on Thursday, and I have to give this doctor that we saw on Thursday mad props here, because this dude, I can't pronounce his name. It's one of those foreign names that I can't pronounce. But this guy was awesome. I mean, he was really upset when Tony told him. He's like, listen, doctor, I can't get my medicine because, one, I can't afford it, and two, the pharmacy that it's getting sent to is lollygagging around with it, and is taking forever to fill it up. And he's like, what do you mean you can't afford your medicine or get it? And Tony said, what it is I got a text from the pharmacy. It's a big name pharmacy. I won't say who, but they're bad for doing this. He's like, they texted me yesterday and said that my prescription for my insulin isn't going to be here for the next 5 days. And he's like, excuse me? And Tony's like, yeah, and hello to whoever's watching. If that's you, Rosie, hello. But yeah, he's like, yeah, I can't get my medicine filled. It's not that, I can't, it's like I can't take it. I can't take it if I don't have it, And the doctor went, what? I mean, the doctor was really indignant about the whole thing. And he was like, the doctor was like, hold on. And him and his nurse, and this is awesome. He's like, I'm going to find out what's going on. And he's like, I'm going to fix this for you. And I have to give this doctor mad props for this. This dude was awesome. Because I was there. I had to put Tony in a wheelchair. And I had to wheel him up. And the awesome thing about this doctor's office is the hospital system that this doctor's associated with has one whole separate building near one of the local hospitals. And this one whole building is just for the heart specialists. I mean, if it's a heart specialty, it's in this one building by itself. And it has its own private parking lot and everything. And I mean, it's awesome. It's 3 floors of these really awesome doctors. And the nice thing is this building is like 21st century, like totally modern. And it's like the doors, like you don't even have to, it's like the automated doors, like you walk up to it and it automatically opens up on its own without you even touching it. Like you don't even have to touch the doors. You don't even have to, now post-COVID worry about, germ spreading or whatever. The nice thing is they have wheelchairs right by the front door. So it's like I had to put Tony in a wheelchair because he, can't walk very fast or very far. So I got him into a wheelchair. I left his walker with the receptionist down on the first floor because his doctor was up on the third floor. And this doctor was awesome. Like I said, the doctor he ended up making him and his nurse and like some of the other nurses in his practice there, got on the phone with not only Tony, with the pharmacy that Tony and I normally use to find out what in the world's going on, like why they weren't filling up his diabetes stuff, or why they like, and what was the holdup with his heart stuff, and like what they were charging and everything. The doctor actually hooked Tony up. He did. And I mean, this guy was like, and he's like, you're not supposed to be not taking your medicine. He got us samples and, different things. And he's like, I'm going to make sure that and he sent Tony's prescriptions to another pharmacy, which helped us out immensely. And this other pharmacy was, like helped us get like all of Tony's, like every last one of Tony's medicines. Like they had them. I mean, and, granted it took them, like a couple hours to get everything together. And we're like, whatever, it's like from like the time we left the pharmacy, or left the doctor's office and got to where the pharmacy was, which was like good 45 minutes away. We still had to wait like another hour and a half, hour 15 minutes. But I'm like, I can handle that, I mean, like I can gladly wait if it's going to help us out and to help keep Tony alive. Hey, I mean, I'm like, good, I mean, but I have to really brag on that doctor and his nurse. I mean, we didn't even know about this other pharmacy to take this, Tony's stuff down to, and we would have never have thought to ask. But this doctor knew about this, and he was awesome. I mean, I'm like, dude, do you know how awesome you are? I mean, I have to really brag on this doctor. Even Tony was impressed. I mean, and he's like, this is the first time I've ever had a doctor get really concerned about my well-being and actually show it, and not just be doing lip service for it. I mean, he meant it. You could tell from the doctor's whole demeanor that this was bad, and the doctor was extremely concerned about the situation with Tony. Make me feel better. I mean, and I'm like, this is the first time I've ever seen a doctor, really care about Tony, and I could tell it made Tony feel good, make me feel good. I'm sitting there in the room with him because, I had to wheel him up there, and like I had to drive him and everything. I've been taking Tony to his appointments and everything, and hi to whoever just joined. But yeah, I mean, seriously, I mean, I'm really, worried about Tony. I mean, and it's just, I mean, and it's not that, it's not that, he, it is what it is. It's Tony's struggling right now. And, I'm glad our family is actually helping out as far as letting Tony stay with the one family members, I should say, until he's well enough to, do stairs and what have you, and do what he needs to do. And it's like I've been going over to see him and everything. And, I've got things covered here. Trust me, I would not try to, mess with me here because, I've got somebody staying here helping me too on that end. But anyway, and now speaking of, like the money and, like not being able to take care of stuff. There's some of Tony's medicine, we do need help with. There's some other stuff that we need help with too, like food, gas, paying our bills. Like, as a matter of fact, we have some bills that are due today, or well, yesterday now on the 1st of July. And then we had some stuff that was due on Friday. We couldn't pay any of it. So what boils down to is, we need help paying those. Oh, hi, Rosie. You be safe driving that car now. But the thing is, we actually need help mainly paying those bills. So this way we don't lose our cell phone service. And like I can pay my car taxes. My car taxes were due on Friday, and along with our insurance, and I can't pay it. Either one of them. I mean, so it's like, what do I do? Deal with it. And it's something that I've said before. If you want to help me out, but don't be a jerk about it. I would sooner not take any help from you at all. I would just sooner go without. It's like, I would rather somebody do it because they want to do it and it's the right thing to do. And it's just like, this is another thing, and I pointed this out to Tony. Apparently people that know me offline and in person have forgotten that for the last 6 years, in 2018 and 2019 and 2020, for those 3 years, I was ill. I haven't held a regular job in 5 years. Well, it's not that I've been lazy. People forget details when it doesn't suit them. In 2018, 2019, and 2020, I was sick. Like, okay, and it's like, I'm going to remind you all of this now. Okay, in 2018, 2019, and 2020, for starters, my legs, I had what I call Freddy Krueger legs. I had an infection in both my legs from the knees down. From my knees to my ankles. It's like all the way around. It wasn't my calves, or just my shins. It was the whole freaking leg. It's like I had what looked like Freddy Krueger legs. I had infection coming out of both legs. I had to learn to walk. I had to go to wound care. It wasn't funny. And it's like, I would be falling down. Like, I had vertigo on top of it. I'm still dealing with it now. I still get dizzy spells with it. And it's like, my legs hurt. Like, last night, I woke up and the pain was shooting up my leg into my hip. For those of you, they're like, stop being a crybaby. I'm not being a crybaby. I don't normally complain unless I am, like, about ready to keel over dead. That's how my parents raised me. It's like, the only way I'm allowed to complain is if I'm about this far from dropping dead. I'm serious. Like, I didn't go to the hospital until Tony made me go. He says, your legs are at the point where he's like, there is like this, it wasn't gangrene. It wasn't gangrene, but, it was, it was like great big, like this long, and like in one spot. It was like, and it was infected, and it was open, and it just, it was awful, and it hurt, and it's like I couldn't walk. I walked like I had one too many, and, it was like my legs were hurting, and he'd wrap them up, and it was like my legs would drain through it all in like a matter of like 2-3 hours, and I was hurting all the time. I was in tears. He finally took me, and it started off in my right leg, and it's like it would drain into my shoe. It was that bad. It was infected to where it's like it would drain out and into my shoe, and I'd be walking around going, slurp, 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 and it'd be my right foot. And I would get home, and my sock would be soggy off my right foot. I'd have to take off my socks, and it was like just the smell was getting offensive, and that's why I had to go to the hospital. In fact, the first time with my right leg, I was in the hospital for about a month. It was like 3.5 weeks or something. Well, actually, it was about this time I got out. Actually, it was July the 2nd 2019 when I got out of the hospital. So it was 3 years ago today, as a matter of fact, that I got out of the hospital with my right leg. And then I was out for the 4th of July. And about, a week, maybe 2 later, I was right back in the hospital with my left leg doing it. Congratulations. And I was in the hospital that time until about the middle of August. So that was like a month and a half on more IV antibiotics. And then I get out. I get out of the hospital for like a whole 2 days. And then Tony goes in. It's like 2019 was not my year, believe me. And Tony went in because, and Rosie, you have seen the pictures of his back. Is that great big divot in the middle, like in the middle of his back? That great big long divot that's like that long, about this long. That thing started draining, and he ended up in the hospital with that thing. Huge abscess. It was this long and about that deep. And the thing was draining out of the back of his shirt, and it smelled. And it doesn't smell as bad as the gangrene did in April. I mean, it was bad. What was going on in his back in 2019 was bad, but what was going on in April? What was going on in April was worse. I was like, oh. I said, God in heaven, Tony, you're killing me, Smalls. I mean, because when they unwrapped his foot, I was like, oh, dear Jesus Christ, help all of us. I was like, I mean, that's just like what I said in that first video when I started talking about everything that was going on. I'm like, oh, dear God, Tony. I'm like, Tony, you're killing me. But anyway, it's like I get out, he goes in. Excuse me. Well, what winds up happening is, okay, he gets out, okay, and I end up catching pneumonia. Congratulations. I'm out for all of, out of the hospital for all of 2 freaking weeks, and I end up going back in the hospital for another couple of weeks. Excuse me, with pneumonia. I am like, God help me, can I please catch a break? Can we just not? I'm like, dear God, seriously. I told Rosie this, and it's just to add insult to injury. You know what happens? They found out I had breast cancer. I'm like, well, screw you too. I mean, they were doing a CT scan on my chest to try to figure out if it was pneumonia or bronchitis. It was pneumonia. But, when they did the CT scan on me, they, with the contrast and everything, guess what showed up? That cancer. And they're like, what the heck is that? That was 3 years ago. It was the first time I had my very first mammogram. I got told off by the technician. I did. I got told off by the technician. She's like, you mean to tell me this is your first time having a mammogram? I'm like, yeah. She's like, why? I'm like, it never occurred to me to have one done. I mean, that was the truth. I'm like, I'm 45 years old. We're talking 2019. I'm like, or I was 44 years old at the time. I'm like, it's like, I'm like, this is my first time. I was like, it never occurred to me in the last 4 years to go have my happy butt go down and get a mammogram done. I'm like, look, I may have turned 40, and, on my 40th birthday, was the first time in, 37 years they had a Triple Crown winner on my birthday, on my 40th birthday. That was, just as an aside. I was like, I didn't think in the last 4 years that was relevant. Well, guess what? It's like I saw it, and it was about that big around. It was about the size of a small orange. I have to say one thing about the doctor that operated on me to get the cancer out. He was just going to do a biopsy. And this doctor was awesome. This is another one of those awesome doctors. The little fella, and it was a little fella, he comes in, sits down on my bed, and I'm in the hospital. He pulls out his cell phone, and he says, okay, honey, when would you like to have your surgery? I said, when can you get me in? The sooner the better. And he actually sat there and scheduled it with me. And he was just completely awesome. He actually sat down and scheduled it with me himself. And he said, it ended up being August the 30th. It was whatever. It was like the right into August, right, like the Friday before Labor Day in 2019. But it was August something. And I got up and we had that done. And right as he went to leave out of my room, when I was still in the hospital with pneumonia, he said, "Is there anything else you want to ask me?" And I'm like, I sat there and like, not anything. I think I called his name and said, "Hey," and he's like, "What?" I said, "Actually, is there any way you could just take the whole thing?" Because I go, I don't want that thing riding around in me extra. I'm like, just get it out of me. Like, because I said I don't want to have 2, 3, 5, 12 surgeries after. I'm like, just get it out of me. Well, anyway, he was like, okay. So he got it out of me. I'm still here. Clearly. And they said that it's like it is a good thing. I found out later, like they checked it and they said it was a good thing that they caught it and that I got pneumonia. Excuse me. It's a good thing that I caught pneumonia because, if I had waited, it would have metastasized and just went completely haywire and it would have been a lot worse. And, and I'm like, okay, it's just random how things like that work out. But anyway, back to the whole thing about Tony. Well, this is the second time, the first time with Tony and the second time in my life that I've heard a doctor be all upset about something that's going on with either Tony or myself. And it made me feel a lot better knowing, finally, and Rosie, if that's you, welcome back. I'm like glad that this doctor was being awesome. And one thing, and I have to tell this on Tony, prior to Tony getting out of rehab, I actually told him in Texas, I said, listen, I said, our GP is known to only be there like 3 days a week. I think he's getting ready to retire. I'm like, but he's only there like 2-3 days a week now. Well, I said, when you call, because Tony has to call and get in to, see somebody from our GP's office down there in Bellevue. Well, Bellevue, Kentucky, not New Jersey or New York or whatever. But, we have to go down to Bellevue and, see him. Well, I told Tony, I said 9 will get you 10, or 5 will get you 10, that he'll be booked up. That's exactly what happened. I said, when, if that happens, just say, hey, listen, I know Dr. So-and-so is my regular GP. Can I please see somebody else in the office? Surely there's got to be, there's like, 9, 10 doctors in this office. Out of them, out of the other 8 or 9 that are in the office, surely one of them's got to have availability, like in the next week, that I can get in to see one of them. Sure enough, there's a lady doctor in the office that I've had before who is just she's another one of those great doctors, and we're lucky to have some halfway decent doctors down here. She's available, and Tony getting in to see her on Tuesday, on July the 6th. And, Tony has to provide a doctor's note so he can hopefully go back to work. I should be so lucky. We'll see what happens. That's what I said. I told Tony, I said, I don't know if they're going to let you go back or what's going to happen, but it is what it is. And I told Tony, I said, I printed out the paperwork back in April at the library to get a handicap placard, because at this point, Tony's handicapped. I don't even know if he's even going to be able to drive ever again, to be completely honest. I mean, I want to tell you all that just in case. But I told Tony, I said, yeah, we can see if we can get the doctor not only to give you a note to say, hey, Tony's cool to go back to work. Maybe, if she'll sign off on it. I don't know. We'll find out. But we'll definitely have her be able to sign Tony up for a handicap placard, because it's not like he's going to grow toes back on that foot. I mean, we might have to get him a prosthetic set of toes, but, we'll see what happens. I may have to get him on disability or whatever, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure that out. And Tony should be able to get, the the handicap placard. Speaking of Tony and a handicap placard, I shared this on Facebook yesterday on July the 1st. Let's back that up and try again. What it is I know I've been sharing the GoFundMe page, and at this point, none of you seem interested in giving or helping us out. If you don't want to give on the GoFundMe page, I started including my Venmo thing. If you want to do it that way, so that way you don't have to chase me down and give me money if you don't feel like doing that. I will say this: karma has a way of working things out, and if you're going to be a jerk about stuff, be very careful, because karma has a way of finding you, and evil-spirited things being said and or done to somebody, they will come back on you like a boomerang. Okay? I'm not making a threat. I'm just making an observation. There's a difference. I'm making an observation about stuff, because believe me, I know, and I suspect I know there's a few people offline that know me that I have reason to believe have put the word out that, that I am not to get any kind of help, even though, I've basically, over the years, through certain other nameless people who I'm not going to call out here because of their situation, have been forced to help out some of these people. And the word ungrateful and ingrate, two-faced, backbiting hypocrites, that's how I feel at this point. I mean, just remember, it's going to come back on you. I will say this, and I've made this very clear to my mom at any rate. I'm going to start holding people accountable for their behavior and things that they've said to me. Certain people are not off the hook. And I'm not going to apologize for what happens to you. Well, when I say you, I mean just whoever these guilty people are. These guilty people are not going to like what happens. Okay? I'm not going to say what happens, and I'm not going to physically do anything to them. It's more like what I'm going to do with myself. And no, I'm not going to harm myself. Don't think you're getting that lucky. You're not going to get that lucky. I'm not going anywhere. Well, like as in, when I say I'm not going anywhere, guess what? I am not about to unalive myself. I mean, you could forget that. I'm not going to unalive myself. That's not going to happen. But let's just say, don't come looking for me the next time you have something going on, because I'm going to say things to you. Put it that way. You're going to get things said to you like, why are you coming to me? You're this way all the time. You always you always make a mistake and expect everybody to clean up after you, especially me. It isn't going to happen. I've told my mom I'm done cleaning up after people, and that's how I feel. And I'm officially telling you all that if you know me offline, I am not sorry for you. You know, and I mean, and if you want to give to the GoFundMe or the Venmo or buy copies of my book, I did include copies of that. But do it because you want to do it, and do it because, you know, you're not going to, and don't be a jerk about it, and don't throw it in my face. And, you know, that's how I feel about it. You know, if you want to help out, but don't be a jerk about it to me. Because, believe me, I'm beyond annoyed with a lot of people. I'm not going to name names and point fingers. If I just described you, you know I'm talking about you. Okay, we'll just be clear about that. One other thing, and I do want to thank you all, especially, I know that has to be you watching, Rosie, you know, for listening thus far. But anyway, and it's like I said, you know, if you don't feel like giving on the GoFundMe page, which I wish, you know, you could, if you are able to, please do give on the GoFundMe. But, you know, if you don't want to go that route, I have to say, part of the reason why I started talking about my Venmo account, the Venmo account, it goes instantly to me. You know, like where GoFundMe makes you wait like a week. You know, and if you don't feel comfortable giving online, well, it's a lot easier with the way everything has been going on with me. If, you know, I would. It's like if you don't want to give on the GoFundMe, just put it on the Venmo account. It goes through pretty much instantly. Otherwise, you know, if you know me offline, like my actual mailing address or whatever, you know, if you want to, you know, send me a check or something in the mail, which I know which somebody did once. You know, I mean, that's fine. You know, but like I just said, only do it if you're wanting to do it out of the kindness of your heart, not because I'm guilt tripping you into this, or, you know, somebody else twisting your arm. Do it because you want to do it, and do it because you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart. You know, because really, to be honest, like if I end up losing my cell phone, I don't want to hear about it from you all. I mean, like if you can't suddenly get a hold of Tony and or myself, you know, because something happened to so-and-so and it's an emergency and you need to get a hold of me, and then all of a sudden you can't get a hold of me, don't say I didn't warn you. You know, I mean, I'm legitimately asking for help. I mean, I'm drowning here. And, you know, and it's, you know, and if you want to know what's going on with me in my personal life, you know, one, why is that your business? Like, why is that your business? And two, what makes you think I owe you an explanation? You know, I mean, it is. That's how I feel about it. I don't owe you an explanation of that. You're not God. You know, well, anyway, you know, I want to thank you all for watching. Yeah, Tony's doing okay, and hopefully, hope, fingers crossed, you know, maybe, and I'm not going to swear to this, maybe I will have some good news probably on Thursday. And, with, excuse me, now I've been sneezing and hacking and coughing and choking, and now I'm hiccuping. Hopefully I will have, you know, an update on Thursday to share that's worth sharing. But anyway, I'll probably have to do another live video like this because for whatever reason, it's like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, my phone's been acting stupid and won't let me shoot videos, you know, like the way I normally do it, which is shoot it on the phone and then upload it. Whatever. But, you know, I'll probably do another live video because this, like I said, this phone's being ignorant. Well, anyway, you know, it is what it is. I want to thank you all for watching, and y'all have a good evening, all right? And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.